I recently had to get a US passport in a very short amount of time. It was kind of confusing. So in this video, I'm gonna break down how to get a United States passport fast, whether you're renewing an expired passport or you're getting one for the very first time. Let's dive in. Processing speeds for US passport applications are fairly long, and there are plenty of resources out there about how to get a passport, which forms to fill out, etc. This one is all about how to do it quickly. Now, before we move forward, quick reminder, double check your passport expiration date if you're planning a trip at all. Maybe you're not in an emergency situation right now, double check the date. Many countries require your passport be valid for at least 6 months after your travel dates, so double check. And if you're confused about which forms to fill out, the US Department of State has a form filler tool, which is a wizard that basically guides you through some questions that helps you figure out which forms you need to fill out. Last disclaimer, we get a lot of comments now, and my heart is definitely to help. However, I cannot speak to your specific situation related to your passport needs and timing and stuff like that. I made this video to take something confusing and hopefully make it a little bit more digestible in video format, but I can't get to everyone's questions, and I'm not a passport expert. I'm simply sharing what I've learned from my personal experience. Before I get into how to get a passport quickly, you need to know a couple of things. In certain situations, you can handle all of this by mail, and you don't need to go anywhere in person. You can renew your passport and even change the name on your passport by mail if you have a US passport, your passport isn't damaged, you've never reported it lost or stolen, it's been issued within the past 15 years, and you were at least 16 years old when you got it, it was issued in your current name, or you can provide official documentation proving your legal name change, and it wasn't limited to less than the normal 10-year period of validity for an adult passport due to multiple thefts or losses or damage. But if you answered no to any of those, or you're applying for a child, you'll need to apply in person. You apply in person if you're applying for your first US passport, you're applying with your child who's under age 16, your previous US passport was issued when you were under 16, it's been lost, stolen, or damaged, or it was issued more than 15 years ago. Okay, and where do you apply? The US Department of State has over 7,400 passport acceptance facilities. Many of these are post offices or local government offices. The US Department of State has a handy website that I'll link below, which makes it easy to search for passport acceptance facilities near you. You can search by zip code or city and state, and it'll show you a range of options. Okay, here's the moment you've been waiting for, and I appreciate you hanging in there. There are 4 official ways to get a US passport, and they have varying speeds. Which one you choose depends on your situation. The 4 speeds are routine, expedited, urgent, and emergency. Routine passport renewal times are currently taking 10 to 13 weeks at the time of filming this video. This does not include mailing time. This is from the time your paperwork is received until when it is mailed back to you. So you need to add time to your estimate. This is the official note from the US Department of State. It says, processing times only include the time your application is at one of our passport agencies or centers. The total time to get your passport includes both processing and mailing times. It may take up to 2 weeks for applicants to arrive by mail at a passport agency or center, and up to 2 weeks for you to receive a completed passport in the mail after we print it. So, what I take that to mean is, just to be safe, I should add 2 weeks on either end of that 10 to 13 week processing time. Think more like 4 months out from your trip rather than 3. The second type of renewal is the expedited renewal. The Department of State recommends you choose this service if your travel is less than 13 weeks away. Expedited service takes 7 to 9 weeks. Again, mailing times are not included in processing times. The expedited service costs an additional $60. I've used this option before when renewing my passport, and honestly, that $60 was worth the peace of mind that we'd actually get my passport on time. Okay, so what if your trip is sooner than 9 weeks away? What if with mailing times, you don't have enough time for expedited service? There's an official answer and an unofficial answer. We'll get to the unofficial one later. The official answer by the U.S. Department of State is that you'll have to make an appointment at a U.S. passport agency or center and go in person. Now, unlike the passport acceptance facilities I mentioned earlier, these passport agencies are a different thing entirely. First off, there are far fewer of them. There are only 26. You can only make an appointment by calling, and I put the number here on the screen. You'll probably have to wait a long time when you call. I was on hold for about an hour, and you must have an appointment. You can't just walk in. Now, there's no fee or anything like that to make an appointment, but if it is a rush, like once you're at your appointment, you're gonna have to pay some extra money day of. The U.S. Department of State offers two types of appointments, and I hope most of you will fall into the first category and not the second. The first category is urgent travel. And urgent travel is described as travel that's happening within 14 calendar days. You can't even call to make an appointment until you're 14 days out from your trip, and unfortunately, there's no guarantee that you'll even get an appointment. The other thing is, if you've already applied and you're just worried you won't get your passport in time, you can't get an appointment until you're only 5 days out from your trip. The second category is life or death emergency travel. And this type of appointment is granted only to someone who needs to travel internationally in 3 business days because your immediate family member outside of the United States has passed away, is in hospice care, or has a life-threatening illness or injury. You can schedule your appointment up to 2 weeks before your international travel, just like urgent, but the date of your appointment must be within 3 business days of your international travel. You have to bring proof of international travel to your appointment. Either one of these situations is really, really stressful. Obviously, situation 2 is worse. We recently used the urgent travel approach to get a passport for our daughter. She didn't have a passport yet, and to be honest, once we got the appointment, it was very smooth. Now, we're lucky that Allie's parents live in the same town as one of the 26 U.S. passport agencies. We showed up, we had all of our documents ready to go, and the staff was very, very thankful for that. And we got our passport literally the same day. Your mileage may vary. Sometimes they'll mail it and you'll get it a day or 2 later. Okay, there is another unofficial option, and I haven't used it, but the U.S. Department of State mentions it a couple of times on their site, and I actually know someone personally who's used it with success. Rush My Passport. Rush My Passport is a private sector option that, for an additional fee, helps you get your passport fast. Basically, Rush My Passport employs couriers that go to one of those passport agencies for you with all of your paperwork and info. And they also offer consultation, customer service. They make it very clear and simple on what forms you need to fill out, what info to provide, etc. Now, this does come with a cost. An expedited service, not including the standard government fees, start at $189, and getting your passport in 2 weeks or less is $700 plus. That's a lot of money. I wasn't willing to pay that, but again, we have family close to a major passport agency. If you live really far from a passport agency and you have a trip in just a couple of weeks and you're realizing, crap, my passport is expired, it could be simpler and possibly even cheaper, especially if you have to book travel or something like that to get to the agency, to use Rush My Passport. I'm not endorsing this service. They didn't sponsor this video or anything. I'm just giving you an option. I hope this video was helpful to you. If you find yourself in this situation, make sure to check out the links in the description below. Happy travels.